The first scene of Yellowstone Season 5 Episode 3 is a flashback in which a younger John Dutton takes some of his ranch workers on a horseback ride, including a young Rip. When they break up, they discover a group of dead animals that have been eaten by wolves. John Dutton goes to a town meeting where dozens of irate Montanans are decrying the wolves that are invading their land. John, in his capacity as commissioner, sits down on the council board and explains how ranchers supported the wolves' reintroduction into the wildlife as an endangered species despite the fact that they appear to have gotten out of hand. Rip wakes up in the present day to find Beth getting ready for a trip to Salt Lake City. She enters the porch, where her father, John, is seated. She fails to mention her first threesome during a casual conversation. Even though it may have been hurtful for the daughter to tell him, Beth urges him to find someone else to love after reminiscing about her late mother. We see the ranchers in the bunkhouse getting ready for the day as they wish Lloyd a happy 58th birthday and joke that he looks older. In the stables, Rip shares a sweet moment with Carter, who fell off a horse last week. Rip tells his adopted son, "If we're going to make a cowboy out of you, we're going out every day," before instructing him to saddle up. Policing the missing wolves park up and begin examining him. Despite Rip's dumbness, the authorities insist that he ride out with them to locate the wolves. Rip goes with them to the spot where the wolves were killed, but it looks like they've covered up their tracks and dug up the land, taking away all evidence. He tells the two that the river they're looking for is past a dangerous mountain before he leaves them there. Casey and Monica talk with members of Monica's tribe about how they will grieve their son's spirit. The ceremony ought to take place on the fourth day following the child's death. After Monica leaves, he uncovers that his vision let him know he needed to pick between his occupation as an animal specialist and his marriage. He immediately selects Monica and his son date. He tries to get a job on the reservation from Thomas Rainwater, but he refuses. Rather, it's proposed that he ask his sibling Jamie for a task as an examiner for the Montana Division of Equity. Monica screams and shaves her head inside the house in a fit of rage. We haven't seen Casey in Yellowstone in a while, so he arrives later. He arrives to speak with his father, Montana's governor. In order to have a place to visit him, he asks John if they can bury their child there. John is also informed that he is quitting his job by him. John reluctantly accepts his decision. Jamie enters his office, where he is greeted by Market Equity's members and Sarah Atwood. As she intends to achieve her goals by exploiting Jamie's confusion regarding his and her families. She makes a financial appeal to Jamie, assuming that he is aware that he has cancelled the lease in error. Jamie is informed by Sarah that she is not present for the lawsuit but rather to seek a soft landing, for the both of us. He is invited to dinner at the Deerfield Club by her. Beth, who owns a majority stake in the investment company Schwartz & Meyer, is in the city to trade her shares for the real estate. She doesn't have Rob's trust because he says it's too good to be true. She tells him in private that she is giving up all of her power because Market Equities will sue for her stake. Much to Beth's delight, Rob signs the difficult contract without much convincing. She then departs Salt Lake City and returns to Yellowstone. While Caroline Warner, CEO of Market Equities, is enraged by the news that Burson International has acquired Schwartz & Meyer, Beth is overjoyed. Ellis is instructed by Caroline to ruin Dutton's family. Beth wants to celebrate her victory, so Rip and Carter go to the bunkhouse to play a card game to celebrate Lloyd's birthday. Exhausted with this, Beth recommends they go greater and go to a bar in Bozeman. When a woman starts flirting with him, things get out of hand, as Rip warned. She approaches Beth, who is furious, and she breaks a bottle over her head. Event outside, Beth punches the woman in the face because she has a grudge against her. All of the ranchers were released by the police,